Germany, a land known for its robust economy and welcoming culture, now finds itself at a crossroads. Recent decisions have stirred the nation as leaders grapple with the complexities of immigration. Tensions rise, policies tighten, and the world watches closely.
To Germany now, which is making headlines for a U-turn. This is about immigration. Germany now wants tougher immigration measures.
Now, the German cabinet has introduced a new draft bill of measures aimed at making it easier for authorities to repatriate certain irregular migrants.
What could drive a country with such a rich history of diversity to say no to immigrants? Germany's migration policies have undergone significant changes over the past decade, largely shaped by the leadership of former Chancellor Angela Merkel and, more recently, Chancellor Olaf Scholz. Merkel's tenure was marked by an unprecedented openness towards migrants and asylum seekers, a stance that saw Germany welcome over 1 million refugees in a single year. However, under Scholz's leadership, there has been a noticeable shift towards more restrictive migration policies. This essay explores the evolution of Germany's migration policies from Merkel's era to the present, examining the factors behind the recent policy changes and their potential implications. Angela Merkel's chancellorship from 2005 to 2021 was a period of significant transformation in Germany's approach to migration. Her most notable policy move came during the European migration crisis in the mid-2010s. In 2015, Germany opened its doors to an extraordinary number of refugees, taking in over 1 million people fleeing war and persecution, particularly from Syria. Merkel's response to the crisis was encapsulated in her famous phrase, "We can do this," which signaled her commitment to handling the influx of migrants despite significant challenges. Merkel's open-door policy was largely supported by the German public at the time, but it also led to a surge in support for the right-wing Alternative for Germany, AfD party. The AfD, which had initially focused on economic issues related to the Eurozone, pivoted to an anti-immigration stance. This shift proved electorally beneficial, with the party performing well in the 2016 state elections and the 2017 federal elections. Despite this opposition, Merkel's government maintained its pro-migrant stance, reinforcing Germany's image as a humanitarian haven. Under Merkel, Germany saw a dramatic increase in its foreign-born population. The number of foreigners living in Germany rose from 6.8 million in 2005 to 11.8 million by the end of her tenure. By 2021, 29% of Germany's population had an immigrant background, either being immigrants themselves or having at least one immigrant parent. This demographic shift significantly contributed to Germany becoming one of the most ethnically diverse countries in Europe. Merkel's policies were driven by a combination of humanitarian concerns and pragmatic considerations, such as addressing labor shortages and supporting Germany's aging population. When Olaf Scholz succeeded Merkel as Chancellor in 2021, there were expectations that he would continue her pro-migrant policies. Scholz had served as Minister of Finance in Merkel's Grand Coalition government and was seen as a continuity candidate. The coalition manifesto of Scholz's government, comprising the Social Democratic Party, SPD, the Greens, and the Free Democratic Party, FDP, promised to uphold Germany's humanitarian obligations and criticized other European states for their treatment of refugees. Upon taking office, Scholz faced the challenge of the Ukrainian refugee crisis. Following the Russian invasion of Ukraine in February 2022, Germany again showed its commitment to humanitarian principles by accepting over 1 million Ukrainian asylum seekers. Scholz's government introduced legislation to ease the process for migrants coming to Germany. This included a Canadian-style point-based system that lowered the criteria for educational level and German language skills, making it easier for migrants to bring their families. These measures were primarily driven by Germany's need to address labor shortages caused by its aging population. Businesses pressured the government to facilitate the influx of workers to sustain economic growth. Consequently, the legislation allowed migrants to bring not only their spouses and children, but also their parents, reflecting a broader approach to family reunification. This approach aimed to attract skilled workers and professionals to Germany, thereby boosting the economy and addressing demographic challenges. Despite the initial continuation of Merkel's policies, Scholz's government has recently shifted towards more restrictive migration measures. In a surprising address after a meeting with the country's regional governors, Scholz announced plans to curb the number of migrants entering Germany. This shift included cutting benefits for asylum seekers, easing the deportation process for those denied refugee status, and imposing stricter penalties for human traffickers. One significant change was the introduction of debit cards instead of cash for refugees. This measure aimed to reduce the attractiveness of the German welfare system for migrants. Additionally, the government expanded police powers to search refugee accommodations and access personal digital data to verify the identities of asylum seekers. These measures were part of a broader effort to streamline the asylum process and increase deportations, particularly targeting individuals involved in organized crime. The government also plans to deport nearly 20,000 rejected asylum seekers immediately. As of now, approximately 28,000 foreigners reside in Germany without valid permits, but 80% of them cannot be deported due to various legal and logistical challenges. The new rules aim to expedite the deportation process and address these issues more effectively. The recent policy changes also include tightening the criteria for asylum applications, reducing the benefits provided to asylum seekers, and increasing surveillance to prevent illegal immigration. The recent shift in migration policy can be attributed to several factors. Accommodating a large number of migrants has become increasingly challenging for Germany. The number of asylum applications has risen sharply, increasing by about 73% in the past year alone. Many shelters are full, and regional authorities have raised concerns about the financial burden of supporting such a large migrant population. The strain on social services and infrastructure has led to growing public discontent and political pressure for more restrictive policies. Political pressure has also played a crucial role in shaping the new policies. The AfD, which has been the main anti-immigration voice in Germany, is currently enjoying record-high support. Polls indicate that the AfD has surpassed Scholz's SPD, highlighting the growing public discontent with the current migration policies. The recent regional elections in Bavaria and Hesse confirmed this trend, with significant gains for the AfD and losses for the governing coalition. Additionally, the Christian Democratic Union, CDU, now led by Friedrich Merz, has shifted to a more conservative stance on migration. Merz has advocated for stricter measures, including the removal of the right to asylum from the German constitution. His leadership has pressured the government to adopt more restrictive policies to prevent further electoral losses. The rise of the AfD and the CDU's shift to the right reflect broader changes in German political dynamics, with migration becoming a central issue in political debates and elections. Public opinion has also shifted against immigration. A recent Deutschland Trend survey found that 64% of respondents believed immigration does not benefit Germany, with a plurality of voters from all major parties except the Greens expressing this view. This growing skepticism about the benefits of immigration has influenced the government's decision to tighten its policies. Concerns about the impact of immigration on social cohesion, security, and economic stability have contributed to the shift in public sentiment and political priorities. The renewed conflict between Israel and Hamas has further exacerbated concerns about migration. Germany has seen an increase in anti-Semitic incidents since the conflict began, raising fears about the impact of large migrant populations on social cohesion. The German authorities have taken these incidents seriously, leading to stricter measures against groups with alleged links to Hamas and heightened scrutiny of migrant communities. The intersection of international conflicts and domestic migration policies highlights the complex and interconnected nature of global migration issues. The shift in Germany's migration policies under Olaf Scholz marks a significant departure from Angela Merkel's open-door approach. While Scholz initially continued Merkel's policies, recent developments have led to a more restrictive stance. This change is driven by practical challenges in accommodating migrants, political pressure from rising support for right-wing parties, and shifting public opinion. The ongoing conflict in the Middle East has also influenced the government's approach to migration. It remains to be seen whether this shift represents a permanent change in Germany's attitude towards migration or a temporary response to current pressures. The recent policy changes reflect a complex interplay of humanitarian principles, political realities, and practical considerations. As Germany navigates these challenges, the evolution of its migration policies will continue to be a critical issue for the country and its role in Europe. The broader implications of these changes extend beyond Germany, influencing European migration policies and international responses to global migration crises. The balance between maintaining national identity and embracing diversity remains delicate. This issue is far from resolved, and the world will be watching closely. Stay informed, as the implications of these choices will ripple across borders, influencing global perspectives on immigration and integration. What do you think about Germany's decision? How do you see this impacting other countries' immigration policies? Share your thoughts, and let's continue the conversation about the future of immigration and integration.